What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P, back here once again, and you already know what the dealie is. When you see me in front of your TV, when you see me on your screens, it is one thing for certain, three things for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. Number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, is that we came to make sure that you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don, does one keep the Lions news pragmatic? And I'm glad you asked. It is a very simple three-part process. Number one, smash that like button. Number two, subscribe. Number three, share. And I just gave it in that order. You can do it in whichever order that you want. But sharing is indeed caring. So when you share this stream with your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, your fathers, your uncles, your cousins, your aunts, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, and your grands, and your steps, and your halves, then you've indeed cared about those people, because sharing is indeed caring. What up, though, everybody in the chat? We got some things that we've got to get into. I did want to start this thing off by talking about what the doctor said about Levi Onwuzurike's injury, what it means for Levi Onwuzurike. How did it happen? Where and how did it come about? Because I was listening to John Gruden's breakdown of the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers, that coming up in a few short days here, football is upon us, folks. Football is upon us. But as I was listening to it, he's talking about, oh, they've got all these injuries. Levi Onwuzurike is out, one of their best defensive linemen. Josh Pascal is out. He's their third rusher. Brother, if Josh Pascal is our third rusher, what the frick are we doing? Josh Pascal for the Detroit Lions has 5 sacks in his career. AQM has 3. AQM has been with the Detroit Lions not even one season. Remember when we had all of those injuries last season, and then AQM was one of those guys that came in off the street, right? One of those guys that had to wear a name tag. He was one of those guys. And he's got 3 sacks. And not even a full season with the Detroit Lions. And Josh Pascal has 5. And he's played 3 years? Going into his 4th year? What are we doing? What are we doing? So, along the lines of what are we doing? What up to Mr. Detroit City? Along the lines of what are we doing? Now, there was a little bit of confusion, okay? When I saw this yesterday, or maybe it was, for me, it was yesterday, right? For you, maybe it was today. Maybe it was this morning. I don't know when I saw it, but I saw it yesterday at some point in time. There was a tweet that came out from the doc, John Macaron, and of course, we wanted to try to get him back on the show after the Packers game, and we'll see what happens. Maybe before. Well, we'll see. Probably after. He said, we good. Okay? That's what he tweeted. Out of whatever Detroit coach, what up, though, Mr. Morale 313, Dan Campbell said on the flagship, he tweeted out, we good. Right? Dan Campbell said much more than that, but this is what the doc tweeted out. So then Cash Doll comes on and tweets and puts up something on her Instagram that says, nah, coach, we good. And I don't know what they were doing. There was a picture of her and Zadarius Smith. And of course, she's wearing the Zadarius Smith Detroit Lions jersey. Of course, the one that she had on in her concert. Because obviously it was pictures from her concert. Okay? So now, basically, what Dan Campbell said was a little bit more than we're good right now. Okay? Actually, right now is actually part of what he said, and that would have cleared some things up. Okay? He said, we're good right now. The thing that he led with, okay, which was Cap. And you can call me the hater if you want, the Marcus Davenport hater. I just prefer that you would call me a realist. And right now, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are being capologists. They're lying to us, folks. When he said, no, we got Marcus Davenport and we got some good depth. Homie, what depth do we have? Aside from AQM, right now, who came in, and as I said, he was with us for what? 5, 6 games? Maybe 7? And he got 3 sacks. Aside from AQM, who is your depth on the edge? Tyrus Wheat? Who is Tyrus Wheat? What has he done in the NFL as far as rushing the passer? Tyus Lacey, who's a defensive tackle? What has he done as far as rushing the passer? What depth do we have? We have currently on this roster Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, and AQM. I don't even know what a Tyrus Wheat is. So excuse me if I'm not going to include him. The people that we know that we have, the people that we know what they can do to some extent. We know what Hutch can do. We know what Marcus Davenport can do. We know what AQM can do. Marcus Davenport, we know what he can do, but we don't know how long he can do it. I'm going to address y'all in the chat before I bring this up, but I would like to show you guys a little bit of research that I did. So what up, though, Tactical Sport? What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? What up, though, Mr. Morale 313? What up, though, Zach J? What up, though, Taylor Made Media? All right. Tactical says, it's funny because I've seen on several places that Mr. 3 half sacks is one of our best defensive linemen. And I don't know where that came from. I really don't. These narratives that people are spinning, but the eye test shows you something different. Okay, the Detroit Lions were number 3 in pressure rate, but they were number 20 in sack rate. Okay, so they were top 3 in pressures, but they were number 20 in the league in sacks, which means those pressures were not converting to sacks. So if you want to tell me Levi Onwuzurike had 1,000 pressures, great. How many sacks did he have? 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay. Zach J says, what up, realist? Okay, yes. Andre Carter II says Taylor Made Media. Also, we have him on the practice squad. Okay, now it's better. Okay, it's all better. I'm done. Okay, guys, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your night. We got Andre Carter II. Let's just end the stream. And Taylor Made, I'm not crashing out on you. I know you were just throwing that in there to be funny, right? And that's what I'm doing. All right. He said it's a type of bread. Taylor Made Media. Mr. Brown 313 said it's a type of bread. That was my question to what is a Tyrus Wheat. Okay. I have something for you guys here. Okay. I hope it just gives me what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm looking for, it was something else I was looking for. Okay. This is, all right. So I did two. I did Marcus Davenport, and I did so hold on. I'm not sure why. Okay, here's the Marcus Davenport research. Okay. Here we go. All right. Y'all ready? Because we got Marcus Davenport. We're good. This is what Dan Campbell said. Are you guys ready? Put your thinking caps on. We're going to talk about Marcus Davenport's contract. All right. The contract contains a total of million $650,000 in fully guaranteed money. Did y'all hear that? Let me know if you're with me now. Stay with me now. The contract contains a total of $1,650,000 in fully guaranteed money. This figure is composed of two distinct elements. Stay with me now. 2025 base salary. A fully guaranteed base salary of $1,350,000. Okay? His base salary is fully guaranteed. It is $1,350,000. The decision to guarantee the entirety of his base salary provides Davenport with a significant measure of security, as this amount is protected against injury or decline in performance. $1,350,000 for a pass rusher is not security. Okay? You can use it whatever you want. All right, signing bonus. $300,000. Which is typically paid to the player upfront upon execution of the contract. For salary cap accounting purposes, this bonus is prorated over the life of the contract. Given that this is a one-year deal, the full $300,000 is allocated to the Lions' 2025 salary cap. So this guy that we are good, we're good right now. We got solid depth. We got Marcus Davenport. We're good right now. We're ready to go. This is what Dan Campbell said. Brad Holmes talks about Marcus Davenport. Oh, Marcus Davenport this. Oh, Marcus Davenport that. Oh, and Dan Campbell said that Marcus Davenport, he's going through a rigorous offseason to try to mitigate the injuries and try to make sure that he strengthens the body and the durability and all this other stuff. Cap! Stop the cap. Brother, $1,350,000 is his base salary. We're not talking about my base salary, because if you give me $1,350,000, I'm like, getting money, getting money, getting money, That's me. Marcus Davenport is a defensive end who's supposed to be in a category of guys that just got paid $47 million in a single season, every single season for the next 4 years. This is where Marcus Davenport is supposed to be getting paid, but he is getting paid $1,350,000 of base salary, which is fully guaranteed. Are you with me? Are you following me? $1,350,000 is your base salary. Micah Parsons just got $47 million per year. We're looking at Aiden Hutchinson to get anywhere between $40 and $50 million per year. Marcus Davenport is getting $1,350,000. How much trust do you have in Marcus Davenport? Really? Do you have much? Okay, let's continue on with this. All right. This low guarantee figure is particularly telling when placed in the context of Davenport's career as the 14th overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. Do y'all remember where Micah Parsons was picked? Was he number 11 overall or something like that, number 10 overall? Do y'all remember where he was picked? Marcus Davenport was a top 15 pick and is at a point in his career 7 years later where he has been so injured that he has a contract with a base salary of $1,350,000. Zach J says number 8 is where Micah Parsons was drafted. Micah Parsons was drafted 6 slots above Marcus Davenport, that is not a $46 million gap. I'm sorry. Right? If you said he was drafted 60 slots above him, okay. Okay. 6 slots above is not a 46 million or 45 point something million dollar gap. It's not. Okay. Now, it says in 2018 NFL Draft, his talent and physical traits have previously commanded far greater financial commitments. His 1-year contract with the Minnesota Vikings in 2023 included $10 million in guarantees. Just 2 years ago, he signed a contract in Minnesota that had $10 million in guarantees. Now he's signing a contract in Detroit that has a base salary of $1,350,000 as base salary, $300,000 as a signing bonus, and both of those things are fully guaranteed, and that is all he has in guarantees. Can anybody tell me in the class? Anybody in the class, can you tell me, anybody want to tell me how many games Marcus Davenport played for Minnesota? But that ain't none of my business. Okay. Can I continue? All right. A lot of folks on the practice squad would take that ADGs a game. I definitely would take it too. I'm not poo-pooing the money. I'm poo-pooing the money in the context of Marcus Davenport. Oh, Zach J says he was number 12. Mr. Morale 313 says, was it 7? Well, in 3 years. Okay, well let's see, because let me make sure. How many games did Marcus Davenport play in Minnesota? Marcus Davenport played in 4 games. $10 million in guarantees for 4 games of play. Marcus Davenport played in 4 games for the Minnesota Vikings in 2023. He joined the Vikings after 4 seasons with the New Orleans Saints and suffered a season-ending high ankle sprain. High ankle sprain, season-ending. What is a season-ending high ankle sprain? Has anyone ever heard of a season-ending high ankle sprain 4 games into the season? In week 6 against the Chicago Bears. In week 6 versus the Chicago Bears, my man suffered a season-ending high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain is 4 to 6 weeks recovery. This man's high ankle sprain knocked him out for the season. But this is the man that you're telling me you're good about. Okay. All right. All right. Now let's move to the next part of his contract. It says at-risk compensation, the show up to get paid clause. Show up to get paid is in quotations. To counterbalance the low guaranteed money, the Lions front office embedded a significant portion of Davenport's potential earnings within a structure that directly rewards availability. But we're good, right? You believe in Marcus Davenport, right? Okay. This serves as a powerful hedge against his past injury concerns, aligning the player's financial interests with the team's need for his presence on game days. The primary mechanism for this is a per-game active roster bonus. Davenport can earn $50,000 for each regular season game in which he is a member of the team's active game day roster over the course of a 17-game NFL season. This bonus provides a maximum earning potential of $850,000. Okay? $850,000 is the maximum he can get. Not even $1 million. Not even $1 million. $850,000 is the maximum he can get for being on the roster every single game. Okay? They put 50 G's on a game. 50 G's. Okay. Now, all right, now let's go to performance incentives because I don't want to bore you with the rest. The path to maximum value. The final and most lucrative component of Davenport's contract is a multi-tiered incentive package. These incentives are classified by the NFL as not likely to be earned, NLTBE. We talked about NLTBE a few months ago when I was doing the contract episode. Okay? Brother, NLTB, not likely to be earned incentives, is what the majority of Marcus Davenport's contract is. Not in likely to be earned incentives. It's in not likely to be earned incentives. But you're telling me we're good. Okay. Y'all ready for this? A designation given to performance benchmarks that the player did not achieve in the preceding seasons. A key feature of the NLTBE incentives is that they do not count against a team's salary cap at the time of signing. They are only charged against the cap in the following year if they are ultimately earned. Okay. The contract contains a total of up to $2,250,000 in performance incentives, which are broken down into two non-cumulative categories: playing time and sacks. Non-cumulative means that Davenport earns only the highest tier he achieves in each category, not the sum of all tiers he surpasses. The specific incentive structure is detailed in the table below. Category playing time. Threshold, 40% of defensive snaps, payout $500,000. Playing time, 65% of defensive snaps, payout $1 million. Sacks, 8 sacks, payout $500,000. Sacks, 11 sacks, payout $1,250,000. The data is sourced from SpotTrack. This structure provides a clear roadmap for Davenport to significantly increase his 2025 earnings. If he achieves the highest tier in both categories, 65% of snaps and 11 sacks, he would earn an additional $2,250,000. When combined with his base value of $2.5 million, $1.35 million salary plus $300,000 signing bonus plus $850,000 per game bonuses, the contract's total potential value, cash value, escalates to $4,750,000, a figure consistent with media reports on the deal's maximum worth. This incentive-laden design effectively creates a sliding scale of compensation where a rotational part-time role yields a modest salary, but a return to form as a dominant every-down pass rusher results in a payday commensurate with that of a high-impact starter. Not a high-impact starter, but okay. I would say a high-impact starter is Big Z, who may be asking for $10 million a year. And Brad Holmes doesn't want to pay him $10 million a year. Bring back Big Z and give him the same damn contract structure as Marcus Davenport, just with more money. Give him more guaranteed money. Give him $6 million in guarantees, like Matthew Judon got $6 million. He got up to $6 million in his money. Okay, give him $6 million guaranteed and make him earn the next $4 million. in NLTBE incentives. I'm gonna see what y'all saying. All right. Let me get to y'all. Let me get to this chat. All right. Tactical Sports says the Lions love to have one pass rusher and a hybrid edge on the other side, and I hate it. Davenport is a bum. Levi a bum. Pascal a bum. They all bums except Hutch. So are you ready to concede that the Lions ain't signing Big Z? I wasn't ready. I don't want to be ready, but this is pissing me off. All right. If the team plane was going down and you could save one person, I'm saving J-Mo. Me too. He's the MVP. I thought he was number 8 because there was rumors Carolina was going to give up number 8 for Stafford, and we could have taken Sewell and Parsons back to back. It was spinal. LMAO spinal. I broke my back. So the payout is 50 G's just for showing up. Just for being, not just for showing up, because he'll show up even if he's injured. He needs to be on the roster. Yes. Don't sign Z. We need the money for J-Mo. We can sign Z this year and give it to J-Mo next. Yeah, he ain't playing hard this year. We can do some Clippers salary capping for Big Z. Facts. You can listen. He can be the head mechanic at the Ford factory. Big Z could be the head mechanic at the Ford factory, and he's just required to show up at Ford Field every weekend and go, everybody go fix your cars, and give him an extra 10 million. I mean, something. Said my nephew is about Matthew Judon's age. I'll have to ask him if they played each other in high school. Bet. All right. So does any of that look like we're good? Like, if you told me, and this is why I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, because I know that we know he's got an incentive laden for a $4,750,000 contract. The incentives are wild. He has to play 65% of the defensive snaps. He has to get 11 sacks. Because y'all already expecting Hutch to get 20, and you're expecting Marcus Davenport to get at least 11. Guess what he's never gotten in his career? 11 sacks. The year where he played 11 games and got 9 sacks, had he played the rest of the games, he probably would have got more than 11 sacks. He's never gotten double-digit sacks. This man's got to get 11 sacks. 11 sacks. He's got to get 11 sacks to get all of his money, plus plays 65% of defensive snaps, plus be on the roster for 17 games. Okay, I'm just saying. Mega Hustle 313 says Davenport might get hurt at practice. He's so injury prone. Facts. He can get 11 on Madden, 26 on rookie mode, and then turn the injuries off. All right. Now, we've got quality depth was the next thing that they said. Okay? Dan Campbell said we got quality depth. I just want to bring up some numbers. Since 2020, Okay? Since 2020, the Lions stat. I'm gonna do the Lions sack statistics. Okay, are y'all ready for this? 2020, the team total was 24. Romeo Aquara, 10 sacks. Everson Griffin, 3.5. Trey Flowers, 2. Jamie Collins, 1. John Penisini. Remember John Penisini? John Penisini had 1 sack. Danny Shelton had 1 sack. Desmond Trufant had 1 sack. Jared Davis had a half a sack. All right? If he gets 11, he'll shut everyone's mouth. Facts. I'll shut mine for sure. And I'll give him his props. But it's not his props that I'm not giving him. It's this, hey, he's dedicated his, training his body. Why, again, why is everyone so happy that he's doing it this year? Why hasn't he been doing it? You got to show me. Show us. Okay? You got to show us. All right. 2022. Okay? Here we go. In 2022, we had 30 sacks. All right. Charles Harris had 7.5. Julian Okwara had 5. Austin Bryant had 4.5. Aleem McNeil had 2. Derek Barnes had 2. Trey Flowers. Now, remember that Derek Barnes number. Just continue remembering this Derek Barnes number. Okay? Derek Barnes had 2 sacks. Okay? Trey Flowers had 1.5. Jesse Lemonier had 1.5. Alex Anzalone had 1. Michael Brockers had 1. Levi Onwuzurike had 1. Tracy Walker had 1. Will Harris had a half. Nick Williams had a half. Okay? Now, 2022, the Hutchinson effect. Okay? Y'all ready? In 2022, we had 39 sacks. So from 2020, we went from 24 sacks. 2021, we had 30. When Hutch came, we had 39. All right. Here we go. Aiden Hutchinson, 9.5. James Houston, 8. Okay? That right there is 17.5 of our sacks. Okay? John Kaminsky had 4. John Kaminsky has since retired. Josh Pascal had 2. Okay? He had 2 sacks. Was he on the team? No, he was drafted the same year as Hutch. Okay. Josh Pascal had 2 sacks. Okay. So I want you to keep your eye on certain people. We got Derek Barnes. We got Josh Pascal. Derek Barnes got 2 sacks. Josh Pascal got 2 sacks. Okay. Because the other reason is when I was listening to John Gruden's breakdown of the game, he was so excited about Derek Barnes coming back because he's used as a rusher as well. He's rushing the passer because he's blitzing from his linebacker position. And it's supposed to be a major impact, right? So far, he's got 2 sacks. Okay. All right. Where did we stop? We stopped at Josh Pascal had 2. Julian Okwara had 2. Romeo Okwara had 2. Alex Anzalone, 1.5. Benito Jones, 1.5. Aleem McNeil, 1. Derek Barnes, 1. So far, Derek Barnes has 3 sacks. Okay. Not very impactful numbers yet. But there's another season coming. So we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. Isaiah Buggs had 1. Charles Harris had 1. Jerry Jacobs had 1. Juju Hughes had 1. Malcolm Rodriguez had 1. Tracy Walker had 1. Ifeatu Melifonwu, who had a half of 1. Okay. Now we're going to 2023 season. Okay. We have 41 sacks. So we keep going up. We keep going up, right? Aiden Hutchinson had 11.5. Aleem McNeil had 5. Alex Anzalone had 3. Ifeatu Ifatu Melemanu Manam, Iffy had 3. Jack Campbell had 2. John Kaminsky had 2. Julian Okwara had 2. Romeo Okwara had 2. Charles Harris had 1.5. Benito Jones had 1. Brian Branch had 1. Bruce Irvin had 1. Derek Barnes had 1. He's got 4. Isaiah Buggs had 1. Jalen Reeves-Maben had 1. Josh Pascal had 1. He's got 3. Okay. Levi Onwuzurike had 1. He's got 2 now. Tracy Walker had 1. Okay. Tracy Walker's got more sacks than Levi Onwuzurike. I just want to, Okay. All right. 2024. Here we go. Aiden Hutchinson had 7.5 sacks, and then we know what happened. Zadarius Smith had 4. My goodness. Zadarius Smith is the guy listed right after Hutch last year. We had 37 sacks last year. Now, what happened? Hutch got injured. So we were at 41. I'm pretty sure we would have blown past that number last season. Okay? Aleem McNeil had 3.5. El Qadim Muhammad had 3. DJ Reader had 3. Josh Pascal had 2. Josh Pascal's got 5. But he's our third rusher. Josh Pascal's got 5 total. Okay? Malcolm Rodriguez had 2. Trevor Nowatzki had 2. Jack Campbell had 1.5. Levi Onwuzurike had 1.5. 3 half sacks. Okay? So what does he have? 4.5 sacks for his entire career? Okay. All right. Alex Anzalone had 1. Brian Branch had 1. Iffy had 1. James Houston had 1. Miles Adams had 1. Pat O'Connor had 1. Marcus Davenport had 1/2 of 1. Ezekiel Turner had 1/2 of 1. Derek Barnes has 4 sacks. Was it 3 or 4? But so if it's 4, basically he averages 1 sack per year. And this is supposed to be exciting. Maybe because he just got his contract, he has a huge year and he gets 5, 6, 7 sacks this year, rushing off the edge or rushing from his linebacker position, from the Sam. Josh Pascal has 5 total sacks. Levi Onwuzurike, who will not be playing because of the injury that we were supposed to be talking about, but all of this Big Z and Marcus Davenport talk has sidetracked me, and it's fine. He's got 4.5. El Qadim Muhammad has 3. Marcus Davenport has 1/2 a sack. He played in 2 games last season. He finished one of them. That one that he finished is where he got his 1/2 a sack. He touched Stafford. Pause. Am I preaching to the choir? Am I saying something? Am I saying something that we don't? Why are we being lied to by Brad and Dan? They know something we don't know. Facts. They know a lot that we don't know. Facts. They know everything about this roster and we are speculating. And all we can do is go on stats and eye tests. They know the hearts of these people, right? They know the people as people, right? They know them personally. They know their wives' names and their kids' names. They know where they live, right? They've hung out with them. All of this stuff. They've gone to war with them. They've been in the trenches with them. Facts, 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 facts. But just because you know all of these things about the people, and just because you love and care for these people, and just because you have relationships with these people, doesn't make you a top-tier rusher, Derek Barnes, when you have 4 sacks in 4 years. It doesn't make you our third rusher Josh Pascal, when you have 5 sacks in 3 years? DJ Reader, who's not known for his pass rush, came in last season, gave you 3 sacks from the defensive tackle position. And the guy that's supposed to be one of our best rushers, because ain't nobody else but Aleem McNeil, if you're talking about a rusher from the defensive tackle position, okay? Before DJ Reader got here, and DJ Reader, again, is not a rusher. He is not here to get sacks. He is here to stop the run and to take up double teams, to free up Aleem McNeil. That's what he's here for, okay? But that guy got 3 sacks, and our second best rusher from the defensive tackle position, Levi Onwuzurike, got 3.5 sacks. I'm failing to understand how we are good and we've got quality depth. I'm failing to understand with this argument that I've made and with the stats that I've given you and the contract structure that I've shown you. I'm failing to understand. I'm failing. I'm getting an F in understanding right now. I'm going to repeat this grade because I'm getting an F in understanding. How are we good? Where is our quality depth? Our quality depth in El Quadin Muhammad, probably if you break down the amount of games that he's played for this Detroit Lions team and the amount of games that Josh Pascal has played for this Detroit Lions team, El Quadin Muhammad sacks the quarterback much more often than Josh Pascal, who's supposedly our third rusher. El Quadin Muhammad looks like our third rusher. Now, a football player is a football player wherever a football player comes from. You could find a dude sitting at Papa John's in the back making pizzas in the oven and be like, yo, come play for the Detroit Lions, and he can get you 8 sacks because a football player is a football player. James Houston went to the SWAC, right? Jackson State, and had 19 sacks in college, and then he came off the bench and the practice squad and everything, and in 7 games, he had 8 sacks as a rookie. You find a football player wherever you find a football player. So El Quadin Muhammad coming off of his couch towards the back half of the season, and he gets 3 sacks for you, that's fine. But the guys that you've had on this team, Derek Barnes has a sack a year, right? Josh Pascal averages 1.35 sacks a year. He doesn't even average 1.5 sacks a year. Okay, it's actually a little bit more because 1.5 per year for 3 years would be 4.5. So yeah, a little bit more than 1.5 sacks per year. But we're good. We're good. We don't need Big Z right now. We're okay. Okay. All right. Let me get to the chat. T-Bone Logue says, what up, though? Go Alliance. LMAO, remember when everyone was so hyped for the return of Jarrett Davis? Yeah. I don't know why. Tactical Sports says, I'll give him props if he plays more than the 2 games I'm predicting he plays. Mr. Morales says, I'm from Missouri too on Davenport. TaylorMade Media, John Gruden, yes, I was watching his breakdown on his YouTube channel. I still don't understand why we paid Barnes. Y'all know the I was told Levi O was Hall of Fame bound. I'm pretty sure that whoever told you that was smoking, snorting, popping pills with his 15 phones, and he was injecting that hair on, all at the same time, while managing his blog, his Twitter, his OnlyFans, his Facebook, his everything, right? While managing the entire internet, while creating Canva, while creating cancer foundations that go directly into his pocket. I'm sure that's the guy that told you that Levi O was going to be in the Hall of Fame. So who is SWAC? I believe it stands for the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Something like that, right? But I don't know how it was Southwestern if he was in Mississippi. I don't know. Maybe they don't have enough in the East, so they just call it the Southwestern. Men lie, women lie, stats don't. Sometimes stats do lie. That's why I don't just be going on stats alone, right? Sometimes stats do lie. Right? Donovan Ezeraku's stats apparently lied. He had 17 sacks his senior year, but they said most of those sacks were cleanup sacks. So it's not like he was a dominant edge rusher. No, he was just cleaning up sacks that were already happening. So sometimes stats do lie. I will say that. All right. Let's get to what we came here to talk about, which was Levi Onwuzurike's injury situation. Let me see. Do I have that article here? Let's see. Is the article here or is it elsewhere? Okay, I think it's in the other tab. All right. Yes, it's in the other tab. All right, let me pull it over. Got it. Put it in my main. So I can see the chat and the camera and all that stuff at the same time. All right. I made it this far without popping the chat out. Okay. So Taylor May says yes, but Dion had the entire Jackson State campus saying, "Who is SWAC, by the way?" Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Where's my man Lynn Barney went? Walter and Eddie Payton too. I guess they were in the SWAC. All right. Here we go. What the doctor has said. Okay. This article comes from Mike Payton. Okay. A to Z Sports. Mike Payton says doctor explained what might have happened with Lions defensive lineman Levi Onwuzurike's injury that seemingly came out of nowhere. Right off the bat, we have to say that a lot of this is purely speculative. We don't actually know what happened to Detroit Lions defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike, but what we do know is that he has a torn ACL and will miss the 2025 season. The thing is, we don't exactly know when that happened. Ooh, this is getting juicy. All right. We recently sat down with Dr. Clayton Newell from the University of Missouri. Newell is an expert in ACL injuries, and he gave us some insight into the subject. What we know about Levi Onwuzurike's injury, what we do know is that Onwuzurike was wearing a knee brace in the final weeks of the season and in the divisional round of the playoffs. We also know that in week 18, he went down with an injury and then returned to the game. Then, for a while, we heard nothing about it. The Lions signed Onwuzurike to a new one-year deal that felt like a steal in free agency, and we didn't find out until shortly before training camp that he would be out for the year with a torn ACL. Some speculated at the time that the Lions were aware of Onwuzurike's injury before signing him, which is why they secured such a great deal. That doesn't make any sense when you consider it's a one-year deal and he's going to miss the entire year. What might have happened is that Onwuzurike had a partially torn ACL that wound up either being worse than initially thought or further torn to the point where surgery was needed. Campbell sort of alluded to the latter in his initial presser about why Onwuzurike was added to the reserve PUP list. He says, let me start out with Levi. Levi is out for the year. Levi's surgery was significant, but it needed to be done. Campbell said, out of his control, and it needed to be done, so he will miss the season. What might have happened with Onwuzurike's injury? Just to reiterate again, this is what might have happened. We're not saying this definitely happened. This is purely speculative based on our current knowledge and a conversation with an expert. To begin with, there's a gradation to ACL tears. It's not just one size fits all, and not all of them require surgery immediately. You can tear a ligament 10%, 50%, 90%, 100%, and you can have, what is that? Concomitant injuries in other areas of the knee or other areas of the joint, ligament, meniscus, cartilage, whatever, Newell said. And so there's definite variations and gradations to those injuries, and a player can partially tear their ACL, and it's just a very, very small percentage, especially a high elite level athlete. There's a chance they could potentially rehab that and stay strong and continue playing, especially if it's a playoff push or they're in a contract year or all of those different things that we see at the NFL. I hate when people don't speak in sentences and they just ramble and then you're reading what they say. It's hard to do. That would explain how Onwuzurike continued playing in the final weeks of the season. He rehabbed and began wearing a knee brace and kept going. From there, we learned that while you can rehabilitate a partial tear, you can also, obviously, go the other way and tear it further. What Newell makes clear is that in the NFL and at his level in college, if a player gets hurt on the field, they will undergo an MRI that day and have a team of medical professionals examining and monitoring the injury. Potentially, the Lions felt that what they were seeing with Onwuzurike's injury at the time was not as severe as it ultimately turned out to be. This points to the idea that it just got worse with time, and he had to get the surgery despite early beliefs that he could forego it. Again, this is all speculation, but speaking with Newell, it seems to support the idea that Onwuzurike had an injury that worsened over time rather than improving. All that to say, he ain't gonna be here. He ain't gonna be here. All of that is to say that. Let's see what we got. Archie Manning looks like he should be in the SWAC. FAMU will probably take him at this point. So this was the speculatory piece as to what happened to Levi Onwuzurike. Listen, all I want to do is make this clear. We are not good because we have Marcus Davenport and we have quality depth. We are good because we have Aiden Hutchinson. As you saw from the stats, our sack numbers were going up every year anyway. But when you add a guy that can get you 9.5 sacks his rookie season, get you 11.5 sacks the next season, and probably would have had upwards of 15 to 20 sacks had he not been injured in his third season, your sack numbers are going to go up and up and up. When you add a Micah Parsons, who doesn't ever get less than 12 sacks, your sack numbers are going to go up and up and up every year. This notion that you must go out and get yourself an elite edge rusher to pair with Aiden Hutchinson is asinine. No one is telling you must do that. Brad Holmes. No one is angry, Brad Holmes, because Aiden Hutchinson is so good and we just mad because you won't just go get another one. No one is angry about that. What we're angry about is y'all are pissing off Cash Doll. Well, I don't know if y'all are pissing off Cash Doll because it was taken out of context. I think the entire thing should have been tweeted out, not just the we're good part. Okay? But we're pissing off Cash Doll here. And we know Cash Doll controls the key to Zadarius Smith's heart. I don't need to tell you where the key is. We all know where the key is located. Okay? And if Cash Doll starts to get tired of the mess and doesn't look further into what actually was said and to get the entire content of what was said, I'm pretty sure Zadarius and his agent can pick up the phone and call Dan Campbell and be like, what you mean we good? Right? I'm pretty sure that can happen. I'm pretty sure it's not going to get overblown to the point where Zadarius feels disrespected by the Detroit Lions because he saw a tweet that was put out by John the Doc Macaron and didn't just pick up the phone and get the entire context of what was said. But we're asking you to just go get Big Z, bruh. He is a two-time All-Pro. He is a Pro Bowler. He did just come off a 9-sack season with 2 different teams. And guess what? Had he played that 18th game that we let him sit out, he probably would have had 10. So you got a guy who's a double-digit sack getter on the other side of Hutch that you could put on the other side of Hutch. I'm sorry, you haven't put him over there. And then you got a guy, Marcus Davenport, who had a half sack last year after he completed 1 game, and then missed the very next game, and then the very next game after that, he went out for the season. I'm sorry, but that's not what I would consider good. And if you consider that good, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, I hope you're right. I hope you're right about Marcus Davenport. I hope Marcus Davenport gets all of that money. I hope he gets every one of those 50,000s for being on the game day roster every week of the 17-week season. I hope he plays 65% or more of the defensive snaps so he can get his 850,000. I hope he gets 11 sacks so he can get his 2.25 million. I hope he gets every cent of that $4.75 million contract. But you know what he's getting? You know he's getting 1.65. You know that. But we're good is wild. Anyway, you know what we do on this show, boy. We flow, boy. But before we flow, boy, we checking on your dough, boy. No, I'm playing. All right, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, let's get it going. Let's get it popping. Tell me what you got. Tactical says, now that I need a new player that I must complain about until we get rid of, that new player is Levi. Brother, him and Josh Pascal, again, one of those see you later situations. One of those, we drafted you in the second round, we can replace you in the second round situations. Because Levi Onwuzurike has had 1 healthy season. Okay? Josh Pascal is always injured or sick. I understand the cancer situation, so I don't want to sound like a dick. Okay? I don't want to sound like that. I'm just keeping it real. I understand the cancer situation, but the best of ability is availability. And if you can't be available, we got to move on. We got to move on. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be that guy who's insensitive, but we got to move on. This is a business, right? You got to be available. Okay. And that's not even talking about your play. Maybe someone is happy with you getting 5 sacks in 3 years. Maybe. Maybe someone's happy with that. I'm not happy with that. But I don't think either one of them is coming back. Mailbag from TaylorMade Media. He says, what would be your reaction, damn everybody else, if Marcus Davenport gets to Jordan Love, strips the football, and goes 60 yards the other way for a TD? My reaction would be, cheers. He did it. Oh my God. I hope he didn't pull a hamstring. That would be my reaction. I hope he didn't pull a hamstring. Just, is he okay? Is he good? Okay. All right. Mailbag, how much money would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck cash? No. How much money per game not being played this season is Levi getting paid? I don't even, what is his contract? I think his contract was $5 million. I don't know. I would have to look into his contract, but I think it was something like that. I don't see how you don't void most of the contract. Whatever was guaranteed to him, whatever was guaranteed for injury is what he's gonna get. I don't think the rest of that. So if it was $5 million, he's probably gonna get $1 million to sit there and not play. So I find it hard to believe that too much of that 5.5 was, or 5. I did 5 or 5.5. I find it hard to believe that too much of it was guaranteed, especially in the event of an injury happening. So yeah, I don't know. Mailbag, while everybody's calculating sacks and games played going into the season, anybody looked at the schedule as of late? I mean, the schedule is the schedule. The standard is the standard. We already looked at the schedule. I said that there's a path that they can go 15-2 again. I don't think they will, but the path would be that they would lose to the Baltimore Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe they'll go 13-4. Right? Micah Parsons could cause them to split a game with us, possibly split the series with us, possibly. As I had them sweeping them again. So 12-5. Between 15-2, 12-5. I don't think we'll drop back too far. Mailbag, now that Shep is the new DC, I think Derek Barnes is going to go off just on GP. Your thoughts? So because he was his linebackers coach, I could understand. I think that with Shep, the linebackers are going to be more featured. Just as I thought the man coverage thing was heavily AG's philosophy because he was a corner in the league for many years. So I believe that all of the linebackers are going to have a few more responsibilities, which is going to give them an opportunity to have more stats and to make more of an impact, if that makes any sense. Because I think the way that he looks at his, but then again, when you hear about how smart he is and all these things, is that the best way to go about things with the linebackers that we have? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Mailbag, I'm not playing my games this season. Can I get some of that money they giving Lee? Listen, I wish it would work that way. We just go find I got dibs on Levi's contract. I got dibs. Pay me what you paying him for not playing. Mailbag, why do folks sleep on my man DJ Reader when he anchored the D-line for a squad that finished 15-2, yet these same folks refuse to acknowledge that Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions versus the Commanders? I don't know. I think DJ Reader is very good. I'm not sure he's going to be here next year. I'd love for him to be back. I don't know what Tyleek will look like. Now, if Tyleek, so here's the situation. Would Tyleek slide into the DJ Reader role? If Tyleek is Aleem McNeil light, then putting them both on the line together, right next to each other, does what? DJ Reader is in there to play a different role. He's more of a nose tackle than Aleem McNeil. So I don't know how that dynamic would work. I think if you can figure out a way to keep a DJ Reader, you keep him, because Aleem McNeil is not a guy that stays healthy either. And I think that if he gets injured again, he probably won't get injured this season. I hope he doesn't get injured anymore. But if it happens and he misses significant time, then you have to have that Marcus Davenport conversation with Aleem McNeil. Is he another Brad Holmes special, a guy who's always injured? Hope not, but it is what it is. All right, mailbag. I don't play the prediction game, but what do the Lions have to do to win in Lambeau this year? Be better than the Packers. Jared Goff is 6-2 versus the Packers. Jordan Love is 1-4 versus the Detroit Lions. I just think we have to do normally. I have to do what we normally do, which is be better than the Packers. Right? Aaron Rodgers has beaten Jared Goff one time. Jordan Love has beaten Jared Goff one time. So, that's all I'm saying. Just have to be better. All right. I think we're good on that. We good. Nah, coach, we good. All right. I appreciate y'all for coming through, hanging out, stopping by for a drink and conversation. And clearly I had a drink today. I appreciate y'all staying up a little bit later. I had some things that I had to do this morning for me, right? So I wasn't able to get here at my usual time. So we did start 45 minutes late, but I let y'all know that last night when I was putting up the stream that I would start at the time that it started. So it was at 8 p.m. for y'all. It's 10 a.m. for me. But I appreciate everyone coming through. What's this, BM instead of MB? So the Lions' plan is to go into the season with Davenport and a bunch of DTs that dabble in edge. Yes, that's their plan. Now, one more thing. Okay, one more thing before I go. And this will kind of throw some cold water on the hot takes and some of the crashing out that's happening. I'll admit I crashed out, okay? Because of Darius Smith being on a roster week 1 would guarantee his salary. Don't be surprised if after the Packers game, Darius Smith signs to the Detroit Lions. Because then it could be an unguaranteed salary. You understand what I'm saying? So they do this. Okay, remember that they do this. You're not thinking that Marcus Davenport, Tyrus Wheat, Elquadine Muhammad, and some dude named Lacey are going to get you through the season. I'm sorry. You're not thinking that. Okay? All right. Once again, appreciate you all for coming through, hanging out, stopping by for a drink and conversation, and being active in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe and share and all of these things. You'll be surprised if they sign him. I won't be. And it's not over until he signs on the dotted line with someone else. So keep hope alive, my brother. Keep hope alive. Once again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats and none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out once again. Peace. See y'all.